Dr. Eli Mercer stood on the edge of the rocky plateau, his boots crunching against the crimson dust that covered the surface of the distant planet. The sky above was a strange gradient of violet and gold, and the air, though breathable, carried a faint metallic scent. Humanity had only recently begun exploring this sector, and Eli was part of a small reconnaissance team sent to investigate anomalies detected by the orbital scanners. Eli's specialty was ancient technology. He had spent years studying lost human civilizations and alien wrecks, fixing machines that no one else could. But this mission was different. The data hinted at something older, something not merely broken but extraordinary. And now, standing before the twisted hull of a massive alien ship, Eli felt a thrill he had not experienced in years. The ship lay in ruins, half buried in the rocky ground, its sleek black surface scarred and cracked. Jagged metal jutted from the sides, twisted like frozen lightning. Some of the panels glimmered faintly, humming with a faint energy that Eli's instruments could barely detect. He knelt beside one of the fragments, brushing away layers of dust and debris. "Dr. Mercer, are you sure this is safe?" asked Lieutenant Mara Chen, hovering behind him. Her voice carried a mix of concern and disbelief. Eli glanced at her, a grin tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Safe. Probably not. Worth it. Absolutely." Mara stepped closer, her helmet lights reflecting in the strange material. "Eli, is that a suit?" Its gauntlets were twisted, the chest plate dented, and the helmet cracked in a way that suggested an immense force had struck it. Eli's hands moved over the surface reverently. Even in its broken state, the suit radiated a sense of intelligence, as though it remembered its wearer. Eli could not resist. He worked quietly, carefully detaching shards of broken metal, analyzing the components. He felt a connection, a sense that this suit was waiting for someone to understand it. "Myra, I need time alone with this," he said. Myra's brow furrowed, but she stepped back. "I'll keep watch. Don't die before we get off this rock." It was strange. The power core, while damaged, was intact. The neural interface, the part that connected the suit to its wearer's mind, was responsive to basic commands even without a host. Eli's heart raced. If he could repair this, humanity could gain access to technology far beyond anything known. He ran diagnostic scans, made rough repairs, and slowly the suit began to hum with life. Small lights flickered on its surface like distant stars. As he worked, he noticed the suit seemed to react to his presence. Tiny segments shifted, aligning themselves as if acknowledging him. Eli frowned in surprise. He had repaired many machines, but this was something different. This was intelligent. Suddenly, a flicker of energy ran across the suit's chest plate, forming a pattern, an alien script that Eli could not understand. He froze. The suit was trying to communicate. Heart pounding, he activated his translator, hoping the device could interpret the signals. Nothing. The symbols glowed and pulsed, shifting constantly. Eli leaned closer, realizing that the suit was not speaking a language but sending information directly to his mind, a stream of thoughts and images. He saw flashes of a world. Vast tunnels lined with shimmering walls, creatures moving in perfect harmony, and at the center, a figure of immense power, a queen, regal and commanding. Eli stumbled back. He had expected technology, perhaps weapons, but not this, a memory, a warning, a secret. "Dr. Mercer," Myra's voice was cautious. "Are you okay?" Eli placed his hands on the chest plate, feeling a strange warmth, as if the suit were inviting him to connect further. Hesitation and excitement warred within him. Hours melted into a night of discovery. The suit revealed fragments of a civilization that Eli had only read about in legends. Aliens who had mastered biomechanical integration, who built living ships, who understood the mind in ways humans were only beginning to explore. And at the center of it all was the queen, the ruler of the species, guarding knowledge that could change the course of human history. Eli knew he had crossed a line. Curiosity had always driven him, but this was different. This was dangerous. The queen's attention, though unseen, was now upon him, and she was not a being that tolerated intrusions lightly. But Eli could not stop. Repairing the suit became an obsession. Every spark of energy, every pulse of the alien neural interface drew him deeper. He mapped circuits, replaced broken fibers with human equivalents, and slowly coaxed the suit back to life. By the end of the cycle, it could move on its own, testing its joints, calibrating its sensors, and responding to Eli's thoughts. When Eli finally stepped back, exhausted and exhilarated, he felt the weight of what he had done. The suit was functional. It could protect him, enhance him, and perhaps most importantly, it held the Queen's secret within its memory. Mara approached cautiously, scanning the area for any sign of danger. "It's alive," she asked, disbelief in her voice. Eli nodded. "And it's waiting. I think it wants me to follow it into whatever it is guarding." He took a deep breath and placed the helmet on his head. The interface activated, filling his vision with alien light. Symbols swirled and merged into patterns his mind could barely comprehend. The suit recognized him now as its wearer. It was ready. Eli's hand brushed the controls, and the suit's systems began to synchronize with his neural impulses. Movement felt natural, instinctive, as if the suit and his body were one entity. He flexed his fingers, marveled at the strength coursing through his limbs. Then came the first whisper, not in words, but in thought. The queen's mind reached out, cautious, measuring. Eli felt her presence, regal and vast, like a storm contained within a crystal. She was aware of him, evaluating him. A thrill shot through Eli. This was no ordinary adventure. This was a first contact unlike any humanity had faced. But unlike previous encounters, this was not hostile, at least not yet. It was a test. He turned to Mara. "We have to explore this, but carefully, every step we take matters. Just don't get eaten by the queen, okay?" Outside, the alien landscape stretched endlessly. The sun was low, casting long shadows over jagged cliffs. Eli felt the pull of the unknown, a call to uncover secrets, to challenge the boundaries of human understanding. And at the heart of it, the broken suit of armor, now whole again, was his key to the queen's secret. One wrong move could end everything. But one right move could change the course of history. Eli took a deep breath, tightened the suit's gauntlets, and stepped forward, leaving the safety of the shuttle bay. The adventure had begun, and humanity's greatest challenge and greatest opportunity waited just beyond the horizon. The alien landscape stretched before Eli, strange and alien, yet strangely beautiful. Towering spires of crystalline rock jutted from the ground, refracting the violet light of the distant sun. The air shimmered with an almost imperceptible energy, and the faint hum of the suit pulsed in response to his every step. It was as if the world itself was alive, watching him, testing him. Myra stayed close behind, her every movement cautious. "I still don't understand how you can move in that thing," she said, her voice echoing slightly in the still air. "It's like it's reading your mind." It was subtle at first, a soft vibration under his skin, then a series of small lights along the armor's surface flickered in complex sequences. He realized the suit was attempting communication beyond simple energy pulses. Every flicker seemed like a word, every sequence a sentence. As they descended into a valley between jagged cliffs, Eli noticed strange markings on the rocks, delicate patterns etched in a material that seemed to glow faintly. The patterns shifted when he looked directly at them, rearranging themselves into new configurations. The suit vibrated in his chest. It wanted him to follow the patterns. He reached out, touching the glowing surface. Instantly, a rush of images flooded his mind. Tunnels lined with shimmering walls, creatures moving in perfect harmony, and a queen, vast and regal, commanding attention. The images were fragmented but vivid. Eli realized that the suit was sharing the memories of its original wearer, a warrior who had served the queen long ago. Mara looked at him nervously. "Eli, that suit, it's more than armor, isn't it?" The suit's hum grew louder, almost insistent. Eli could feel it urging him forward, and a strange thought occurred to him. The suit was not only alive, it trusted him. After several hours of cautious travel, they reached the entrance to a massive cavern. The walls were smooth, organic, and iridescent, pulsing faintly with a light that seemed to follow their movements. Eli felt a thrill of recognition. This was the hive, the place from the suit's memories. "Are you sure we should go in there?" Mara asked, her voice low. "We don't know what's inside." And if it's right, this is what humanity has been missing. A chance to understand a civilization far beyond our own. Some of the formations moved subtly, like living tendrils, observing them without threat. The hum of the suit changed, a rising cadence that resonated in Eli's mind. Symbols appeared in his vision, complex geometric patterns that shifted and flowed. He concentrated, letting the suit guide him. Slowly, the patterns resolved into a path, a safe route through the cavern. As they moved deeper, Eli realized that the hive was not just a structure, it was a living entity. The walls responded to their presence, subtle movements shifting corridors, opening new passages, closing others. It was intelligent, protective, and aware. Eli felt a sense of awe. Humanity had discovered life before, but nothing like this, a planet that could think, act, and guard its secrets. Hours passed. Eli and Mara navigated the twisting corridors, following the suit's guidance. Occasionally, strange creatures observed them from the shadows, small, insect-like beings with iridescent shells. They did not attack, merely watched, their many eyes reflecting the glowing walls. Eli sensed that the hive was studying him as much as he was studying it. At one point, they entered a chamber filled with shimmering liquid that moved like quicksilver. The suit vibrated intensely. Eli knelt at the edge of the pool, touching the surface. Images surged through his mind. Battles, strategy, a civilization that had survived countless threats by using intelligence, adaptability, and unity. At the center of all these images was the Queen, a figure of immense power and wisdom. Myra watched him, puzzled. "Eli, what is it showing you?" The thought of being discovered by an alien species far more advanced than humanity was terrifying. Yet he felt no fear, only determination. The suit had brought him this far, and he trusted it to protect him. Human ingenuity, combined with this technology, could bridge the gap between species. Suddenly, the suit pulsed violently. A corridor ahead opened, revealing a massive chamber. Organic structures spiraled toward the ceiling, forming a central platform. At its center stood the Queen, or at least her presence. She did not move like a creature of flesh, but radiated intelligence and command. Eli felt her awareness wash over him, assessing, measuring, probing his mind. He swallowed hard, his fingers tightening on the suit's controls. "Mara, stay close. We don't know how she will react." Eli realized the enormity of what he had stumbled upon. Humanity had always believed itself clever, capable, resourceful, but this species had taken intellect to a level beyond imagination, and the Queen was the pinnacle of that intelligence. Yet, amid the awe and fear, Eli felt a spark of hope. Humans had faced impossible odds before and had overcome them with creativity and resilience. If he could understand the Queen's expectations, if he could prove the ingenuity and adaptability of his species, perhaps he could earn the trust necessary to learn her secrets. He took a deep breath and allowed the suit to guide him closer. The Queen's presence swirled around him like a living wind, testing, questioning. Eli felt his own thoughts sharpen, his mind working faster than ever before. Every detail mattered, every gesture, every decision. This was a challenge not of strength, but of intellect. Hours seemed to pass in moments. Eli navigated the Queen's mental landscape, responding to her subtle tests. The suit assisted him, translating alien logic into patterns he could understand, highlighting safe paths and suggesting solutions to problems he could not yet see. Mara followed closely, watching him work. She had never seen him so focused, so alive. The hum of the suit, the pulse of the hive, the awareness of the Queen, it was overwhelming, yet together they moved forward, step by step, closer to the central secret that Eli felt pressing just beyond his reach. At last, they reached a chamber that seemed different from the rest. The walls here were smoother, the glow softer, almost inviting. In the center, a pedestal of organic crystal pulsed with a steady light. The suit vibrated in Eli's chest, guiding him forward. He approached cautiously, every sense alert. The pedestal contained a device, or perhaps a record of alien knowledge. Symbols and patterns flowed across its surface, alive with energy. Eli reached out, letting the suit mediate the connection. Information surged into his mind, histories, strategies, scientific principles, and innovations beyond human imagination. He gasped. This was what the Queen protected. This was the secret humanity had never dreamed of accessing, and yet the presence of the Queen loomed over him, reminding him that every piece of knowledge came with responsibility. Misuse could be catastrophic. Eli turned to Myra, eyes wide with wonder. This could change everything. But we have to be careful. One wrong move and we might never leave this place alive. The Queen had noticed them, tested them, and now awaited their actions. Humanity's first real contact with an advanced alien intelligence was here, and the path forward depended on courage, intellect, and adaptability, the very traits that had allowed humans to survive and thrive against all odds. Eli took a deep breath. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. Every decision, every movement, every thought mattered. The hive, the suit, the Queen, they were watching, testing, and guiding. But Eli knew one thing for certain. Humanity had the capacity to rise to the challenge. And he would not fail. Eli and Mara paused at the threshold of the inner chamber, their senses alert to every movement, every pulse of energy around them. The suit vibrated gently against Eli's chest, as if reminding him that it was both armor and guide. The Queen's presence was stronger here, more defined, a swirling consciousness that seemed to stretch through the walls, the air, even the light itself. It was both intimidating and mesmerizing. "Stay close," Eli whispered to Mara. "We don't know what's waiting inside." Strange, insect-like creatures scuttled along the walls and ceiling, their many eyes tracking every movement, yet none made a hostile move. "This place," Mara said, her voice barely audible. "It's like the whole planet is alive. Every movement we make, every decision, we're being measured." It did not attack blindly. It challenged. They moved cautiously, following the suit's guidance. Occasionally, a tunnel would shift, redirecting their path, almost as if the hive itself were asking a question. Could they adapt? Could they think creatively under pressure? Each obstacle tested their problem-solving skills, their observation, and their courage. At one point, they reached a corridor blocked by a lattice of crystalline filaments, glowing faintly and vibrating with energy. Eli examined the barrier, noting patterns in the vibrations. "The suit, it's showing me a rhythm," he said. "If I move in sync, we can pass without triggering anything." "Follow my lead." Adaptability wins. The Queen's inner sanctum. Whatever she protects, it's here. He staggered, overwhelmed by the torrent of knowledge, but the suit stabilized him, filtering the flow so he could comprehend it piece by piece. Myra watched in awe. "I've never seen anyone move like that with the suit. You're connected. I have to understand it to move forward." Eli realized that she was not a tyrant but a strategist, a protector of knowledge. He looked at Mara. "This changes everything. If we can learn even a fraction of what she knows, humanity could leap forward centuries in understanding. But we have to earn it." Eli understood immediately. The Queen was not merely observing, they were being evaluated. The hive wanted to see if they could solve problems, adapt, and demonstrate ingenuity. Ahead, the floor shifted, revealing a series of platforms floating above a glowing pit. Each platform moved independently, some rotating, some tilting. One wrong step could send them plummeting into the abyss. Eli studied the patterns, noticing subtle cues from the suit that indicated safe timing. "Looks like we're dancing again," Mara muttered. Eli nodded. "Only this time we're improvising." They moved across the platforms, each step a challenge that required observation, prediction, and coordination. The suit's guidance was crucial, translating the hive's subtle cues into actionable insight. When they reached the far side, Eli felt a surge of satisfaction. "Adaptability wins again," he said with a grin, though his mind was already focusing on the next challenge. The chamber opened into a smaller, circular room. Here the air was thick with energy and the walls pulsed with a rhythmic light. At the center, the Queen's presence was stronger, almost tangible. Eli felt her awareness press against his mind, measuring him, probing his intent. He steadied himself. "I respect your intelligence," he thought, letting the suit convey the message. "I come with curiosity, not hostility." Images flowed again, this time more focused. Schematics of energy conduits, sequences of logic that powered their civilization, and strategies for survival. Eli absorbed what he could, knowing that comprehension required patience. Every fragment added to his understanding of the species and the Queen herself. Mara leaned close. "How do you do it?" "I can barely follow." "It's about pattern recognition, logic, and trust in the tools we have. Humans have always solved impossible problems with what's available. This is just amplified." They could not cross without solving it. Eli studied the arrangement. The suit highlighted subtle irregularities in the patterns, suggesting a path. But it was not enough to follow blindly. They had to understand the logic, anticipate the consequences, and act with precision. He turned to Mara. "We do this together. Watch the patterns, listen to the suit, and think 2 steps ahead. We can solve this." Eli exhaled, feeling the weight of success. "We did it. Intelligence and teamwork, classic human strengths." The suit pulsed in recognition. This was the heart of the Queen's domain, the repository of knowledge she had protected for centuries. Eli approached carefully, letting the suit mediate the connection. The moment he touched the pedestal, information surged into his mind, detailed strategies, technological insights, and historical knowledge that had been safeguarded for millennia. He staggered under the weight of it, but the suit stabilized him, allowing comprehension. Mara watched in awe. "It's incredible. What are you seeing?" "And the Queen, she's testing if we are worthy of it. And we've always found a way. And humanity's ingenuity would be the key to unlocking the secrets hidden for centuries." Eli stood in the center of the chamber, his hands hovering over the glowing pedestal, the suit humming in harmony with his movements. The flood of knowledge from the alien Queen's memory was immense, far beyond anything humans had ever encountered. Schematics, historical records, energy designs, strategies, it all pressed against his mind like a tidal wave. Yet the suit mediated it, filtering the chaos into fragments he could understand. Mara hovered at his side, her eyes wide, reflecting the shifting lights. "How do you even begin to make sense of this?" she whispered. Eli shook his head slowly. "You don't. You let the patterns guide you, and then you apply logic. Humanity has always solved the impossible by breaking it into smaller parts, piece by piece. This is just a bigger puzzle." Images of the queen herself formed, her presence immense and commanding, yet not hostile. She observed him, testing his reasoning, his curiosity, and his respect for her knowledge. A new challenge appeared. Sections of the chamber walls began to shift, forming complex sequences of rotating crystalline panels. Each panel emitted a faint energy field. Eli quickly understood that one wrong step or wrong touch could trigger a defensive mechanism or cut off access to the queen's repository entirely. Mara looked at him, fear evident. "Do we really have to go through that? We're not just exploring, we're showing intelligence, adaptability, and courage. That's what the queen wants to see. She's testing our problem-solving ability. She wants to see if humans can think beyond brute force." After what felt like hours, they reached a platform that floated above a deep chasm, shimmering with alien energy. At the center of the platform was a small crystalline orb, radiating a soft golden glow. The suit's hum intensified, indicating that this was a critical point in the queen's trial. Eli approached the orb cautiously. As he touched it, a wave of information surged into his mind. Schematics of advanced energy systems, complex strategies for resource management, and records of the queen's civilization filled his thoughts. He stumbled back, overwhelmed by the volume of knowledge. Mara caught him. "Eli, are you okay?" But it's not just technology. It's philosophy, strategy, survival. It's everything that has allowed her species to endure. A new section of the chamber shifted into view, revealing a complex mechanism, a massive device of interlocking crystals and energy conduits. The queen's trial was clear. Eli had to repair it using logic, observation, and the limited tools he had. Failure could mean losing access forever. He studied the mechanism. It was partially broken, its energy flows disrupted. He examined the patterns carefully, noting the sequences that could restore the flow. Then he looked at Mara. "We have to repair it, but we have to do it using what we have. Improvisation is key." Eli manipulated the crystalline conduits, aligning energy flows with precision. The suit assisted by translating alien logic into steps he could understand. It guided his hands subtly, but the problem-solving, the creative thinking, was entirely human. Hours passed as they worked. Each adjustment required observation, trial, and adaptation. The queen's presence remained strong, testing their patience, focus, and ingenuity. Eli felt his mind sharpen with every correction, every realignment. Mara's assistance proved invaluable, her quick thinking complementing his analytical approach. Finally, with a careful sequence of adjustments, the device pulsed with light, energy flowing smoothly through the conduits. The chamber vibrated gently, and Eli felt the suit hum in approval. The queen's presence shifted, no longer testing but acknowledging. They had passed the trial. Eli exhaled, relief washing over him. "We did it! The queen's device is operational, and we didn't just follow instructions, we solved it ourselves. I think we just proved humans can outthink almost anything." Eli stepped forward, letting the suit mediate the interaction. He projected thoughts of humility, curiosity, and respect. The queen's presence shifted subtly, a recognition that humans could comprehend, respect, and use knowledge responsibly. Images flowed again, showing the repository of wisdom she had protected for centuries. Energy systems, historical records, interstellar navigation techniques, strategies for survival, they were staggering in scale and complexity. Eli understood that access was a privilege, not a right. Misuse could be catastrophic. He turned to Mara. "We have a responsibility now. We can take some knowledge back to humanity, but it must be used wisely. We can't be reckless." "Then we do it right. That's what humans do best: adapt, learn, and improve." Eli carefully absorbed the information, taking only what he could comprehend and retain. The suit filtered and prioritized the data, helping him focus on knowledge that could benefit humanity without overwhelming them. Mara assisted, recording observations and assisting in interpreting the alien logic. Hours passed in concentrated study. Every new fragment of knowledge reshaped their understanding of technology, strategy, and the universe. Eli marveled at the ingenuity of the Queen's species and the depth of their wisdom. Humanity had much to learn, but they now had a foothold. Finally, the suit pulsed one last time, signaling the end of the trial. The Queen's presence receded slightly, leaving Eli and Mara alone in the chamber, yet aware of her watchful gaze. They had earned her trust, her respect, and access to the knowledge she had protected for centuries. Eli removed the helmet, breathing deeply. "We did it, Mara. We earned it. Humanity has a chance now, not just to survive, but to grow, to understand, to elevate ourselves. The Queen's knowledge is vast, and if we approach it wisely, we can change the course of human history. Then let's take what we've learned back and make it count, for everyone." Together, Eli and Mara prepared to leave the inner sanctum, carrying fragments of knowledge that could elevate humanity. The suit hummed, a faithful companion that had guided, protected, and translated the alien logic every step of the way. Outside the chamber, the hive remained alive, responsive, and intelligent. Eli felt a deep respect for the Queen and her species. They had endured, survived, and thrived by intelligence and cooperation, the same traits that had allowed humans to survive countless challenges on Earth. Eli took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history pressing down on him. Every choice mattered, every decision had consequences, and every lesson learned was a step toward a better future. The Queen's secret was now partially shared, and humanity had a chance to rise to it, to prove that curiosity, courage, and ingenuity could achieve the impossible. He turned to Mara one last time. "We've proven something important here, that humans can face the unknown, understand it, and use it responsibly. That's what makes us special. Then let's make sure we don't waste it." And he knew that the challenges ahead, though daunting, could be met with the very traits that had always defined humanity: curiosity, ingenuity, and the will to rise above any obstacle. Eli and Mara stepped out of the Queen's inner sanctum, the alien suit humming softly around Eli's body. The hive seemed calmer now, almost reverent, as if acknowledging their success. Every crystalline wall, every shifting corridor, and every tiny creature that had watched them along the way now appeared to recognize their achievement. Eli could feel it. The Queen had not only tested them, but had accepted their abilities, their reasoning, and their humanity. Mara took a deep breath, scanning the alien architecture around them. "I can't believe we made it," she said quietly. "I never thought we'd get this far." The hive had been alive during their journey inward, testing them, but now it guided them outward as if it recognized their accomplishments. When they reached the outer cliffs of the alien planet, Eli paused and removed the helmet. The sunlight bathed the landscape in a surreal glow, making the jagged rocks glimmer like glass. The suit's hum softened, signaling the end of its active role. Eli felt a moment of awe. This world, this civilization, this Queen, they had experienced something that few humans could ever dream of. "We need to record everything carefully," Eli said, glancing at Mara. "We can't carry all the knowledge in our minds. But if we document what we've learned, humanity can start to understand it safely. Knowledge isn't just power, it's a test. We have to prove ourselves worthy of it." The suit interfaced with the shuttle systems, translating alien schematics into diagrams and patterns readable to human engineers. Mara organized the records, ensuring that every discovery was documented clearly. Hours passed. The alien sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant streaks of gold and purple. Eli worked tirelessly, fascinated by what he was learning. Energy systems far more efficient than anything humanity had developed, architectural techniques that could withstand extreme planetary conditions, and strategies for cooperation and survival that had allowed the Queen's species to thrive for millennia. Mara glanced at him, exhaustion evident on her face. "Eli, when we get back, humans are going to be amazed. This changes everything. We'll be able to explore safely, build better technology, and maybe even prevent wars by understanding new ways of thinking." The Queen's test wasn't just about knowledge. It was about our ability to think, to adapt, and to prove ourselves. Eli's thoughts drifted to the Queen. Her presence, vast and powerful, had judged humanity and found them worthy. That alone was remarkable. Humans had survived against the odds on countless worlds, but now they had been recognized by a species far older and wiser. As the shuttle approached the human fleet, Eli prepared to share their findings with the commanding officers. He knew the knowledge they brought would revolutionize engineering, exploration, and even diplomacy. But he also understood the responsibility it carried. The Queen's wisdom had to be respected, It could not be exploited for greed or destruction. Commander Patel awaited them on the landing platform, his expression a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Doctor." "Mercer, Lieutenant Chen, report," he demanded. Eli stepped forward, the suit's hum still faintly audible, signaling that it was still linked to him. "Sir, we have accessed a repository of knowledge belonging to an advanced alien species," Eli began. "The knowledge covers technology, history, strategies for survival, and methods of cooperation that we have never seen before. We were tested, and we passed because we demonstrated intelligence, creativity, and careful problem-solving. She has granted us access to fragments of her species, knowledge, because we proved ourselves worthy. The Queen's civilization survived through intelligence and cooperation, and that is what she expects of us as well. Knowledge without wisdom is dangerous, but with careful study, humans can achieve more than we ever imagined." Every session emphasized ingenuity, critical thinking, and cooperation, the very qualities that had earned them access to the Queen's secrets. Word spread quickly among humanity. Stories of Eli and Mara's journey inspired hope and pride. Humanity had faced countless challenges: disease, war, environmental collapse, but this was different. Humans had been recognized by an alien intelligence not through force or conquest, but through curiosity, courage, and intelligence. Children on Earth and distant colonies listened to the tale with wide eyes, imagining the alien world, the living hive, and the Queen herself. Students studied the fragments of alien knowledge Eli and Mara shared, learning to think in new ways, to problem-solve creatively, and to respect the responsibilities that came with power. Eli often found himself reflecting on the experience. The Queen had not been an enemy but a teacher. She had tested humanity, and humans had proven themselves capable. The adventure had been dangerous, thrilling, and transformative, but it also revealed something fundamental: that human ingenuity and adaptability could meet challenges far beyond their own world. Mara joined him one evening, looking out at the stars from the fleet's observation deck. "Do you ever think about going back?" she asked. Eli considered it, the suit quiet now, resting in standby mode. "Yes, there's still so much to learn. The Queen's secrets are vast, and we've only scratched the surface. But next time we'll go further prepared, wiser, and ready to show humanity's potential again. Curiosity, creativity, and courage, they're what make us human. That's what the Queen recognized, that's what the universe should know. But more than that, they had demonstrated the qualities that defined them: resilience, ingenuity, and the will to rise above impossible odds. And somewhere across the stars, the alien Queen observed quietly, her presence a reminder that intelligence and wisdom were eternal, and that humanity had earned its place among those who dared to reach beyond the known." Eli adjusted the suit, now a symbol not just of protection but of possibility. Humanity's journey had just begun, and with courage, intellect, and responsibility, they would continue to rise. The stars stretched endlessly before them, promising new discoveries, new challenges, and new opportunities for humans to prove that they were more than survivors. They were explorers, innovators, and a species capable of greatness. Eli looked out at the infinite expanse of space, the suit humming softly, and smiled. Humanity had faced the impossible and had risen, and this was only the beginning.